Okay. So my first video I talked about my miscarriage. At the end of the part 2 video of that, I said that I was pregnant again. So I'm just going to talk about that really, like how I found out and all that. After my, okay, like I'm just going to say this first. When I was pregnant, one of the symptoms I had was my nipples had little white dots on them, which I don't know if every pregnant person gets that, but my best friend had that. So I mean, I talked to her about, nipples. So yeah. Okay, sorry, I have like ADD or something. I just get distracted easily, so sorry. I know I was trying to get pregnant again. I told my boyfriend, but I kind of didn't tell him. Obviously, he still, did it in me, whatever you want to say. So, I mean, I guess he knew, and he knew I was sad. Like, I cried all the time. If I saw a pregnant person at the store, I just bawled. I was just so bad when it came to that. So yeah, I was trying to get pregnant again, which is, I mean, if you're trying to get pregnant and then you had a miscarriage and you're like, actually ready for a baby and all this stuff, like you've been trying already, that's kind of a different story. But in my case, I was just sad about the baby. And it wasn't necessarily that I wanted to get pregnant again. I just wanted my baby back. And obviously that wasn't happening. So that's the end of it. So anyway, back to the reason I told you about the whole white dots on the nipple thing. Well, I was trying to get pregnant, and I got a little app on my phone talking about the ovulation, and it showed when I had my period and when I was supposed to start my period and all this stuff. Like I said in the first video, well, I think I said it, my periods were never normal. So, like, I had a period in August, had a period in November, and then after the DNC, obviously I bled. But then after I stopped bleeding, I got a period on February 18th. And, but a week before my period started, my nipples got those white dots on them. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant again, like, woohoo, because they had faded a little bit. And, I took a pregnancy test. I took a pregnancy test, and it had a faint line on it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I was freaking out. I was so happy because I had read that right after a miscarriage, like, you're more likely to get pregnant. And so I don't know if that meant like a month or a week or whatever that meant. So here I am, like, oh my gosh, yes, I did this. I'm so happy. A couple days later, I got a period. And I'm like, okay. Like, I was so devastated. And I knew it wasn't another miscarriage just because, in my first, whatever, I was telling you about how bad the bleeding and the clots were. And these were not like that. I did have clots, but they weren't like that at all. Yeah, so the same thing happened in March, like a week before. My nipples got those dots. And I'm guessing from the I still had like pregnancy hormones, so I'm guessing that's why the line was light still. So just be careful if you are trying to get pregnant again, because that line will still come up. Mine did, and it was, well, I got the period February 18th, so it was about 3 weeks maybe since I had the DNC, so just please be careful about that. Well, actually it was a week before that, so it was only like 2 weeks, so I guess my hormones did not fade. So yeah, just please be careful about that, because I know I got excited. Yeah, so anyway, oh, by this way, by this time, I was 18. I had my birthday like the beginning of February. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry. So yeah, same thing happened for March. Like, I got the little white dots on my nipple, but only like the line did not show up. So after that, I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just suffering. Every time I found out like I wasn't pregnant and I had my period, I would cry. I just ended up making myself more miserable than I did whatever. And I did try. Like, I was actually trying to get pregnant. Like, I had the ovulation thing. It told me when I ovulated, and I'd be like, okay, we have to have sex 3 days before, a day before, the day of, 3 days after. Like, I was a psycho about it. Oh god, I don't want this to fall. Okay, sorry. So then I was like, I'm gonna get back on birth control, you know. I did take the pills because when I did have periods, they were like horrible, and I just had like the craziest periods, literally the craziest periods. Sometimes, like I said, I would go 3 months without a period. Sometimes it would be every 2 weeks. Sometimes I would bleed for 2 weeks straight on. Most of the time I bled for a week straight on, and it would just be horrible. Like, I'd be mean, like mean. I had really bad clots. I'd cramp all the time. So my mom did put me on birth control when I was like in 10th grade or something. And you take like, there's 4 rows of the pills, and you just don't take the last row, and it makes you not have a period. But you take it the Sunday after your period. So I was waiting for that period to come so I could, you know, wait for the Sunday after and take it. So I was waiting, and my little, the app on my phone was like, you know, you're supposed to be having your period now. And I was like, okay, well, my period's not here. So that's how I basically found out I was pregnant again. I found out really early on. Like, really early, like, basically the day I was supposed to, yeah, so I was about, like, 4 weeks, so, sorry that took 8 minutes to explain. So I guess I'll tell you about my other stuff. Like, I'll just take this video and just make it the how I found out and everything. So yeah, sorry.